The William and Mary Washington Center integrates academics and experiential learning to produce high-impact opportunities for all. For 20 years, we've facilitated meaningful connections and provided a place of belonging for the entire William and Mary community. As we celebrate William and Mary in Washington, we are bringing you monthly videos that celebrate the center's rich history and consider its future. This month, we're taking a step back from the academic and professional development aspects of study in DC to focus on fun. We caught up with former DCSI students J.D. Nichols, Julia Carlson, and Will Elkins to chat about how they made the most of their time outside of the classroom.
I think one of my favorite things to do that Julia and I would often go do together was explore the portrait gallery in DC. Obviously, we would go to a lot of different kind of museums because it's right in the heart of DC. They're all free to everyone to go and take advantage of. But something about the portrait gallery, especially, it's like right next to where they house some of the students. It's just like a 5-minute walk. It's such a great place to kind of go and walk around and explore.
Yeah, JD and I would text each other like right after work and be like, okay, let's go over to the portrait gallery. We had a goal of seeing every inch of the portrait gallery, and we did.
And we did.
Yeah, and so we try to run over there and get as much time in as we could.
It was cool to like kind of transition into feeling like we were adults living in DC, because like for I think a lot of this was like the first time that we were living on our own in a foreign city with a full-time job. And so it was really exciting to kind of feel like we were settling into routines of like things we would do after work. So like I had my favorite pad thai place just like 2 minutes down the road, and would go there pretty frequently, and we'd, like meet up at different restaurants and things like that. And so it was fun to just kind of feel like we were transitioning into more of like a young adult phase of life, having the freedom and flexibility to kind of go and do anything that we wanted to. I feel like there were a lot of Saturdays we just kind of walk around on the mall or go to Jazz in the Garden. So there were like a ton of different things going on that I feel like we really tried to take advantage of and really immerse ourselves in the kind of DC culture.
Yeah, I think for me, that transition into like feeling like I was a local was definitely centered around the farmers markets. It started as like, okay, we've made it to the metro stop. Like now we're at the farmers market, to like regularly getting my produce there, finding our favorite pancakes that we really would wake up on Sunday and need to have our farmers market pancakes.
I'm not kidding you. I texted Julia, 3 days ago, or Snapchatted her and said, I'm dreaming of a DuPont Circle farmers market pancake. I just need one. I need one.
And to that point, I mean, the location of where students are allowed to stay is, I mean, it's really unbeatable. I mean, 7-minute walk down to the mall, very easy metro access. I mean, we were really right in the center of the action, and there's so much going on, especially during the summer in DC. Lots of free things too that we took advantage of. So yeah, I think it's important to underscore just how central the location is, and just how much there is going on even within like a 10-minute walk radius. So yeah, that was awesome.
I also feel like at the same time, like for a couple of us, and for, a lot of us were students, we weren't kind of making full-time salary jobs. A lot of us were kind of like trying to take advantage of things that were more so cheap than not. And so I think one thing that really was fun for us was having the time and freedom to cook for ourselves too. I know that that was something that kind of really not only sparked our friendship in this group, but also kind of just like gave us a lot of things to do throughout the summer. Will and I were actually roommates in the DC program the first time we did it together, and we would kind of divide up meals and kind of cook for one another to explore new kind of fun, healthy vegetarian recipes. And so that was like a really fun kind of way to still feel like an adult, like you're getting your groceries from the farmer's market and then cooking dinner for your roommate. It's just like a really kind of fun thing to do, and still kind of a good way to spend your time as well.
Yeah, and it's a very easy entry point into like adulthood, because in some ways we were, cooking for ourselves, kind of designing our own schedules, that sort of thing. But on the flip side, there was a lot of program support. They set up our housing and all that stuff. So it was a happy medium between real life and more of a student reality. So that was a cool just way to feel like you could transition into adulthood.
Obviously, we all knew each other through the program, and we were all in the same institute. But what really sparked the friendship was that Will and I wanted to cook a recipe using almonds or Pine nuts.
Your pine nuts, I think.
We were living with someone who was nut free as part of the DC program. Aaron texted us kind of last minute, was like, hey, one of your roommates is going to be nut free. You can't have any peanut butter. You can't have any tree nuts in the apartment at all. And Will was like, dang, I really wanted to make this curry recipe. And so we sent Julia and her roommates a message in a group chat called, let us cook food for you so we can cook with nuts. And that is still like the name of this group chat to this day, which is like really kind of funny to us. But it's a good example of the kind of things that like kind of help us make connections. Is like food was a really great way to do it, to come together for a weekly game night or a weekly meal, or using nuts so that we could cook together, was a really fun kind of experience for us.
Because the William and Mary DC staff is embedded there in DC, and there's so many alumni from William and Mary in the DC area, they have a pretty impressive circuit of speakers and mentors, folks that we got to interact with and have access to, that otherwise, I mean, I don't see any scenario that we would have interacted with these folks. And so that getting access to that network was extremely valuable from a personal standpoint. It just allowed me to see what some of the leaders in the DC area are up to and the things that they're thinking about. But also from a professional standpoint as well. I mean, it's just an incredible opportunity for career growth. What I would say to someone considering the study DC program, do it. Absolutely do it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's the kind of thing that you don't want to miss up on if you haven't committed to doing it yet. The program, the opportunities, the connections, all of it is just superb. The connections you make with not only the faculty in the DC Support Center, but also through your cohort and through the friends you make at your internships will really kind of last beyond that summer and provide you amazing connections to kind of hold on to for the rest of your professional lives, which is really exciting. I still keep in contact with like some of my former interns that I worked with that summer. Julia and Will and I still have regular kind of game nights with our crew from DC. We really kind of just like dove into this environment and really took advantage of everything that they had to offer. And I would encourage anyone and everyone to do the same.
Yeah. What I would say if you're thinking about doing it is go to some of those seminars where they talk about it and you can ask questions and you can see the alumni talking about their experience and things like that. I think I was kind of thinking about it. I had heard of the DC program. They have things around campus, but it wasn't until I got together with my professor, Drew Stelgis, for my interview. And I really, really wanted to do the program. I was like, oh, wow, this is someone that I would love to work with, love to learn from. And he was so excited about me. And it made me feel like it would be a really great fit for the summer after my sophomore year, really launching me into declaring my major and learning more about career paths and things like that. I think for a lot of us, it was kind of a career therapy situation where we got to dabble in some different fields that we thought we would like. And we got to try them out and decide whether or not that's really what we wanted to keep doing or keep working towards for the second half of our college career. So I'd say learn as much as you can, because I don't think you'll regret it.